Oh, hi. This is what we're making today. These are Ricciarelli. I'm Pamela Sheldon Johns, and happy to have you here in my kitchen in Montepulciano. This is a delicious cookie, hard to resist, as you can tell. It's a cookie that goes back to Renaissance times, actually, and is probably originally made with the noble families. But it's in my Cucina Povera book because it also is something that people could make for themselves quite simply, quite easily, with the abundance of almonds that they have growing in their yards. So for this we start with blanched almonds, and I'm going to make a kind of almond meal. Now the original recipe is very long, it takes days to do, and I kind of adapted this to be sort of more like what the home cook would do, using my food processor. Ideally, if you can find some almond flour or almond meal, this works the best. But I'm going to put almonds in here. I'm going to put some sugar and some flour and a little bit of baking powder. And the reason that I add these dry ingredients now is so that it doesn't become a kind of almond butter, which would happen if we just put the almonds in. Okay, then I'm going to add a little bit of orange zest, about a tablespoon, so I don't need this whole orange zest, but remembering to just get the bright outer orange part with your wonderful tool that takes just that off. If you get down to the white, it's a bit bitter and it's not so nice in here. Okay, a little bit more. Oh, that smells wonderful. Lemon zest would also be nice in here, but traditionally we use the orange. Now I'm going to go ahead and grind this up. I'll start by pulsing because if I just let it run, then it really will come into a butter, more or less. Pulsing allows it to chop up finely. There, that's very good. It's a nice fine powder. Be careful with the knife inside, but it's a nice fine powder that is going to be perfect for incorporating into the cookie. The next thing that I'm going to do is whip up some egg whites. You probably know this, but it's much easier to separate the eggs when they're cold and much nicer to whip them up when they've come to room temperature a bit. We're using my two chickens' eggs. These are from Lena and Gina Galina. And we call them eggs of gold because we figured that by the time we built the coop and got them all situated, the cost of each egg is a lot. But anyway, they're precious. So I'm going to go ahead and start whipping the egg whites now. And I'll add in some sugar once I get them nice and frothy. I'll keep going until I get nice silky peaks. It shouldn't be dry, it shouldn't be hard. Okay, and I'll whisk these up now. Frothy, all right? And I was very careful when I separated these not to get any egg yolk or anything else. I always start with a nice clean bowl. In fact, I clean it with a little bit of salt and vinegar first, rinse it, and then dry it with paper towels, just so there's nothing to interact with the egg whites, and you get the best volume that way. So now I'm going to go ahead and add the sugar, and I'll keep whisking it until it gets nice soft peaks, silky peaks. That's perfect. Look how nice and silky those are. Just soft peaks, not over dry. Now I'm going to fold this into the almond mixture, which is in my bowl here. First I start by taking about 1/3 of this egg mixture and stirring it in just to lighten this up a little bit. And this is a very quick process now. We don't want to overwork it very much. Just to sort of mix everything together. Now I'll fold the rest of it in. And once that's folded, that's it. It's a very simple recipe. The only really time-consuming part about it is the egg whites, waiting for them to whip up, and that takes a little bit, maybe 3 or 4 minutes. That's what it should look like. Nice and consistent, but not overworked. At this point, I'm going to take a sheet pan lined with parchment paper. In the original traditional recipe, they take a stiffer dough than this and roll it out on powdered sugar, cut it into diamond shapes. This is a home version. We're just going to take some spoons and drop some spoonfuls on here. You can make whatever size you want. The last thing that I'll do is dust them with some powdered sugar. And quite a bit. It looks like a lot. It really kind of is the finishing touch to this cookie. Powdered sugar over them. And then this is not all traditional, but I like to do it. I'll put an almond right on top. These are ready to put in a preheated 350-degree oven for about 12 to 15 minutes until they're nice and golden and they're crispy like this. And they're practically irresistible. Ricciarelli.